So yesterday you saw just one example with the sigma notation. Today you are going to see some more. And then what we're going to do is combine your process of creating your formulas with writing these using sigma notation. So they will not be difficult. You're just combining two things together. All right, so your first one here. Sigma is a Greek symbol that represents your sum. This is sigma. And again, it is used to indicate the sum of your related terms. So what you're going to do is practice evaluating these. So number one says to simplify. So how you're going to work this is you're going to start at the very bottom, and I'm going to start at a equals 1. And I'm going to stop at 4. And then what you're going to do is you're going to plug those in where it says A. Let me check my computer quick first. Okay. So you're going to plug it in starting right at A. So my first expression is going to say x minus 1 squared plus. The next one would say x minus 2 squared. Am I done or do I have to keep going? Keep going until you hit 4 and then you stop. So next I'm going to have x minus 3 squared plus last is going to be x minus 4 squared. Now you're just going to evaluate these. So what's 1 squared equal to? Just 1. What's 2 squared equal to? 4. And then 3 squared is going to be 9. And then 4 squared is going to be 16. Add them all together. So essentially combine like terms. And I get 4 x's. And those constants give me 30. So 4x minus 30 is your answer. Okay. So number 2 is going to work the same way. The only thing you're going to notice that's different is, do you notice there's a 4 on the left-hand side? So when we get our final answer, we need to remember to add 4 to it. So I am going to start, and I'm going to plug in k is equal to 2 right there. And I'm going to stop when I hit 5. So I'm going to go 3 times 2 minus x plus 3 times 3 minus x plus 3 times 4 minus x plus 3 times 5 minus x. Okay, now we're going to distribute all of this. So we get a 6 minus 3x plus 9 minus 3x plus 12 minus 3x plus 15 minus 3x. And then before I forget, I'm going to do that plus 4. Okay. Aren't there 2 answers that we can easily rule out of this? How many x's am I going to have? 12 of them or 4 of them? Yeah, so that's out. That's out. Now you're going to pick up your calculator and you're going to type that in. You're going to do 6 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15 plus 4. I think it's 46. Okay, thank you. It's not bad. It's just a little bit of algebraic work. So the next one, I am going to replace the exponent with 0, 1, and 2. So I start at 0 and at 2. So this is going to say 3 minus 2a raised to the power of 0 plus 3 minus 2a raised to the power of 1 plus 3 minus 2a raised to the power of 2. Does anyone remember something special about 3 minus 2a to the 0? It's 1. So then this just becomes plus 3 minus 2a. And now, I'm sorry, but you got a little bit of work to do on this final meal. We got to FOIL this out. So I'm going to multiply 3 minus 2a, 3 minus 2a. Or if you're someone that works better with box method, you can apply that as well. So this is going to be 9 minus 6a, which is negative 12a, plus 4a squared. Okay, so there's that part. And then over here, I have 1 plus 3 is 4, and minus 2a. Okay, so I'm going to put this back to standard form, beginning with my leading term of 4a squared, followed by 14a, which is negative, and ending with 13. All right, multiple choice answer is choice 4. Okay. How are we feeling on these so far? Pretty good? Awesome. So number 4, which expression is equivalent to this one? I am going to plug in beginning at n equals 1 and stop at 4. So this is going to give me a minus 1 squared plus a minus 2 squared plus a minus 3 squared plus a minus 4 squared. Okay, you have to multiply all those out. This is a prime example of why I try to steer you guys towards FOILing, because does anyone want to do 4 boxes? Wouldn't that take forever? So I'm going to write these twice and just quickly FOIL them all out and combine them together. Yeah, box method is great, but for a problem like this, having to do 4 different boxes is incredibly time consuming. All right, so let's do some of this mentally. So ready? A times a is a squared. Minus 1a is minus 2a plus 1. Next binomial. A times a is a squared. Minus 2a is minus 4a. Negative 2 and negative 2 is positive 4. Next, a times a is a squared. Minus 3a is minus 6a. And negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Lastly, a times a is a squared. Minus 4a is minus 8a. And plus 16. Okay, that still took a while, but I promise you that is much quicker than doing 4 boxes. Okay, we can get rid of an answer here or two, can't we? How many a squareds are we going to have as a result? 4 of them. Yeah, so this answer's out. That answer's out. So if you add all your a's together, you have negative 2a minus 4a minus 6a minus 8a, and that is going to give me choice 4. There we go. How do we feel with the sigma notation? Pretty good? Okay. Now you're going to begin and you're going to start writing these two. So number 5 says, which summation represents this sequence? So first thing we look at when we have a sequence is the classification of what type it is. Is this type arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. What is my common difference? Good. So what you're going to do is you are going to look at your formula sheet where it says arithmetic sequence, and we're going to use this one again. But what's going to be different today is you are not going to know the n. You're going to leave the n as a variable because you're going to write a formula for these. So I substitute in and I get a sub n is equal to a sub 1 is 5 plus n minus 1 stays there. and the D value is 2. So you're going to actually distribute it like that. So I get A sub n is equal to 5 plus 2n minus 2. So again, you're going to produce a formula instead for these. So my formula is going to say 2n plus 3. Right now you have multiple choice answers to go off of to kind of make it easy for you. So what answer is this going to be? Yeah, it's going to be choice 2. But what I'm going to caution you on is a lot of these you do have to check. So what I would check for is that the first term works and the last term. So if I plug in a 1, does it work? Does this give me the first term? Yes. Now I got to check the back. So 2 times 20 plus 3, does that also check? Yes. So sometimes you will see these written that the formulas are the same for a couple of the answers, but the start and stopping points are different. So you want to make sure you check that too. All right, so next one, we have another sequence that we need to write using sigma notation. What type of sequence? Arithmetic, geometric? Arithmetic. So I have a sub 1 equal to 1. Common difference is equal to? Good. So you're going to pull your formula directly from your formula sheet. And you're going to leave the ends there. So then you're going to do the distribution. So I have here a sub n is equal to a sub 1 is 1 plus n minus 1 I'm going to leave. Common difference is 2. And distribute that. So a sub n is equal to 1 plus 2n minus 2. So my formula is going to say 2n minus 1. Okay, this is a prime example of what we were just discussing. Do you see how choice 1 and 4 both have the same formula? But what's different about them? The top number, yep, which is the last term. Yep, you guys are correct. So which choice correctly gives us 39? That's out, that's out. Which one's going to give us 39? Yep. Perfect. So you just want to make sure you check for that. They really try to trick you sometimes. Good. All right. Multiple choice disappeared. So a jogger is going to run a third of a mile on day 1. 2/3 of a mile on day 2. Now, when you're looking for a pattern, it might be helpful to have the 1 and 1/3 expressed as an improper fraction instead. So this becomes 4/3. And last would be 8/3. Would you agree that helps you see the pattern? What are we doing to that top number? Times 2. Good. So this is now going to be a geometric sequence instead, where r is equal to 2. A sub 1 is equal to 1/3. So you're going to go directly to your formula sheet. You're going to pull the formula that is 4th down and write a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r raised up to the n minus 1. And you're going to fill this in. First term is 1/3. Ratio is 2, n minus 1. So that is what gets placed in your sigma. So I go 1/3 times 2 to the n minus 1. Now you are left to figure out your start and stop. So we started on day 1. And how many days did it say it continued all together? 4 days plus 3 days for a total of 7, so a week. Yep, So it's, again, it's very similar to what you've been working with anyways. You're just throwing on your sigma notation to denote the sum. So the sum is always an indication of total distance. So that's why we wrote the summation here. All right, got just a couple more of these and then time to practice. Number 8. There's 2 ways you can go about doing this. Of course, option number 1 would be to try the formulas and figure out which answer gives you those terms. This you could type in your calculator right now. Same thing with this. You can get these as decimals. I have a calculator up here. Yeah, so your first go-to could be that. Square root of 2 is like 1.4142. Cube root of 3. That is 1.44224, so on and so forth. So you can use the answers to help you and type these in. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is you may have learned this in the past. When something is written as a square root, does anyone remember that a square root is the same thing as the 1/2 power? So that's 2 to the 1/2. Same thing with this. A cube root is raised to the 1/3 power. If you look at how we just wrote those, look at choice 4. That is your answer. So it's 1/n. If you didn't remember that power over root, it's really okay. All you would do is type this. You would go 1 raised to the 1/1, gives me 1. You would go 2 raised to the 1/2. You would pick up the calculator, get that decimal, and you would do 3 raised to the 1/3, and you would get that decimal as well. Okay, so either way on that one. So 9. You want to express this sequence using sigma notation, no multiple choices again. So first, we're going to classify the type of sequence this one is. Arithmetic. Good. So I go a sub 1 equals 7, where my common difference is also 7. And my formula is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. And again, you're just going to leave the n there. So this is equal to 7 plus n minus 1 times 7. Distribute and combine like terms. So I have 7 plus 7n minus 7. That works out nice. So your 7s are going to cancel. And your formula is 7 times n. Now you're going to draw your sigma. And 7n is your formula. And we just need to figure out start and stop. And again, usually you're starting at 1 anyways. So how do I get this 7? What would I plug in for n right here? 1. Yeah. How would I get 105? What's 105 divided by 7? 15. Good. Done. How do we feel with writing those? Are they okay and comfortable? So it's just the same thing you were doing with your sequence formulas, with the addition of the summation where you have to find the start and the stop. Okay, so here's one last one where you are just evaluating. So what is the value of the summation? So from 0 all the way to 3. So I'm going to replace all those numbers where I see the B. So this is going to be 2 minus 0i plus 2 minus 1i plus 2 minus 2i plus 2 minus 3i. You guys remember how to type that in the calculator? All right, I will show you in case you forgot. You're going to need that in a second on homework anyways. So what you need to do on your calculator is make sure you are in A plus BI mode. So you go to mode. You might still be in this from a couple months ago. And you are going to select A plus BI. And then if you want, you can type this in. So I would go parenthesis 2 plus 0i, where I is the second period key, plus 2 plus the 1i, plus 2 plus 2i. Do I have one more? It's minus? Oh, for all of them? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do I have one more expression to do here? Okay, thank you. So lastly, I'm going to go 2 minus 3i. Enter. So there's your answer, 8 minus 6i on that one. Okay, so that I key, in case you forgot, which I figured was a good segue because we're going to do midterm review soon anyways, is second period. So 8 minus 6i there. 8 minus 6. Okay, so go ahead and flip over to your homework. I'm going to omit a couple questions. I'm going to give you a hint on one of these. Just a hint. Number one, you're going to see the I again. So you would start this question and go I raised to the 4 times 1, which is I raised to the 4th. Okay. The second term, I'm only going to go a little bit further, would be I raised to the 4 times 2. So isn't that I to the 8th? Does anyone remember that I's repeat every 4? I's repeat every 4. So am I asking you to really take this all the way to 20 terms, or can you use a pattern? There's a pattern. That's all I'm going to tell you. This is not a long question, okay? There's going to be a pattern. You're going to notice it quick here, okay? Don't say it out loud. Number 2 and 3, you can cross off. But I do want you to do the others, okay? So again, number 1 is not supposed to take you more than about 30 seconds once you find that pattern. So with your remaining time, you have 2 things to do. You can start this homework if you'd like, and you also have your Delta Math assignments that are due tomorrow. If you need anything reset, you got to let me know by 1:20 when you leave, okay? So go ahead and get started on those. And then tomorrow is a review, and you have a sequence quiz on Monday.